All right, guys, today we have a great lesson on etiquette, sportsmanship, and sharking. What is that? Okay, so first off, the word etiquette, where does it come from? Well, about 300 years ago, it actually meant something quite a bit different than what it means today. Check it out. The word etiquette originated from the French word etiquette, which initially meant a ticket or label. The term it evolved to signify the rules of behavior expected at the French court, particularly during the reign of King Louis. These rules were initially communicated through small cards or etiquettes posted around the royal gardens and palace. Over time, the word etiquette came to encompass the broader concept of proper conduct in social situations. All right, so etiquette. What does it mean today? How did that evolve? Well, the dictionary meaning of that, we'll just read that. Here it is on the screen. The customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. Okay, that would include pool players, guys. Okay, so what is etiquette? Let's get into it. Etiquette will start from before a match that you play with somebody, okay? What is the proper thing to do? Number one, shake their hand, okay? Number two, wish them luck, okay? Don't brag about your previous match. Don't talk about how crappy you've been playing or how great you've been playing or anything like that. Wish your opponent well and shake their hand and have a good match, okay? What about in the match, during the match? What are some things that you can do to practice good etiquette? All right, number one, no talking during the match. Try not to have discussions with people beside you, other people around you, and especially not with your opponent, okay? So keep it quiet. Number two, if you are going to cheer, cheer for your opponent. Okay? Don't be cheering that they're going to scratch in the side or the corner, or don't be cheering when they miss a ball and give you ball in hand, or don't be cheering when they miss a shot. Okay? If you are going to cheer, cheer for your opponent. Okay? It shows class. All right? It's the same you would want them to do to you. Number three, if your opponent makes a great shot, if you're friends and it's a fun league or something like that, fine. Say good shot, great shot. If you're playing a little bit more serious of a match, tap on the table or on your leg. Just let them know that you are giving them a compliment that that was a good shot, okay? A simple tap on the leg. If you're sitting near a table, you can tap on the table, not real loud. You don't want to distract them. Just let them know that you know that that was a good shot and you're giving them some kudos for that, all right? All right, number four, don't stand around the table while your opponent is shooting. Go sit your ass down, all right? Give them space to make decisions and play the game that they need to play, just like you wish that they do to you, all right? I know the Chinese, sometimes I see a lot of Chinese videos online and they seem to be all crowded around the table. They don't really give each other space. Maybe it's because of those mega cities that they have and the subways where they just pack in like sardines in a can. I don't know. But unless you're in China, sit your butt down. Don't stand up at the table. And if your opponent is shooting and you are sitting in their line of sight, it's polite to get up and actually move over before they get into their shooting stance. Give them the space in their line of vision that they're not going to see you. If you do sit, and let's say you're 10 or 12 feet or 15 feet from the table, that's not bad, but remain still. If you're in their shooting line, remain still, just like you would want them to do for you. Okay, number five, If your opponent is about to take a shot or looking at a shot that could be a possible foul, stand up, let them know at the beginning of the shot. You can kind of see what they're eyeballing, maybe get an impression, an idea of what they're going to try for their shot. But if you think that that shot may be a foul, get up right away and just say to your opponent, hey, sorry, if you do cut that ball to the corner, can you let me know because I'd like to get a ref? Okay, and then you go and you sit back down in your seat. You let them and you give them the time to make the decision. Don't jump up right when they're in their shooting stance, getting ready to stroke the ball. Get up long before that. It's okay to get up and ask for a ref, but just give your opponent the time and space they need again to make a proper decision. Once you let them know that you would like a ref, if they try that shot, no problem. That's not sharking, guys, okay? That's called being professional. Number 6, don't get up out of your seat until the game is completely done, okay? If you get up out of your seat, your opponent has a shot like this on the 8 ball, and you jump up out of your seat, essentially you are conceding the game. That's not technically in the rules for almost any league, but it is etiquette. Sit your ass down until the game is over. If you want to give your opponent the shot, then get up, give them a shot, tell them that's fine. Okay? They won't shoot it. If they do shoot it after that and they miss it, well, they should have just taken the gimme when you gave them the gimme, shouldn't they? All right? Okay, post game. What is the first thing that you do? Shake your opponent's hand. Don't go over and high five your whole team. First, you shake your opponent's hand and compliment them. Okay? Give them a compliment. All right? Say that, oh, you shot a great game, or don't talk about how bad you played and all this other kind of stuff. All right? Compliment them and shake their hand. All right, if you do want to talk to your opponent about some things that happened in the match, some shot decisions, whether it be from you or whether it be them, at the end of the match, not at the end of the game, but at the end of the match, that's a permissible time to actually talk about that stuff. You can ask your opponent a question. You can say, hey, did you consider doing this on that 7 ball, taking it off the 5 or something? Like that is the time for a minute, 2 maximum, that's the time where you can actually have a conversation with your opponent and get some information or ask them or give them some information, whatever you want. That is the time, not during the match, not in between games. Once the match is finished, have a brief conversation. Talk to your opponent about some of the things that were in your mind through the match. It's great to do that, okay? All right, etiquette and sportsmanship, they kind of go hand in hand. They are siblings. All right, so let's talk about a few sportsmanship issues, okay? Calling your own fouls. I'll tell you, for me, 99% of my fouls, I call on myself, even in important matches, okay? Even in big tournaments, most of them I call on myself. I don't try to get away with them. Um, do I always? No. There's been a few close ones where I think I probably fouled, okay? But I wait for my opponent to call the foul. If they do call it, I'll say, sure, it's a foul. All right? So you don't always have to rat yourself out, but it is good etiquette and sportsmanship, in my opinion, especially when you're just playing fun league or even in some tournaments and stuff like that, to call your own fouls. If you know that you fouled, that ball didn't quite hit a rail, it stopped just before it touched the rail, give the ball in hand to your opponent. Okay? All right? Call yourself out. Be a good sport that way. All right? And sometimes, even if they're going to do something that they might end up fouling or shooting a wrong ball or something like that. You know what? If it's not a big money game or something like that, tell your opponent. You know, that goes a long way, and you're going to get that reciprocated back to you the more you do that with other people. Okay, another sportsmanship issue, number two. Standing up before the game is over. Okay, we already talked about that a little bit previously, but it is a sportsmanship issue. It's not really in the rule books. But if you are playing somebody good, standing up right before they take their last shot on the money ball, that is a form of concession. Okay, what does that mean? You are giving them the shot or the game in that situation. Okay, so just sit your butt down until they finish shooting. If you want them to shoot it, if you want to give it to them, then stand up and tell them that's good. Okay, number three, breaking your cues, even if it's your breaker cue. Okay, you break your cue, your opponent's down to their last ball or two, and you start breaking your cues. In big tournaments and in big money matches, that is a form of concession. No, it's not in the APA rules, CPA, APA rules. No, I don't think it's in the BCA rules or the VNEA rules or anything like that. That is a common respect, sportsmanship, etiquette type issue. Don't do it. Don't be breaking down your jumpers and your breakers while your opponent is shooting their last ball. Okay? Don't do it, especially not your playing cue. All right? You do that, you're saying, I give you the shot. It's the same thing as jumping up and standing up while they're taking their money ball shot. Don't do it. Just let them shoot. Remain still. You'll have plenty of time after the match to break down your cues. You're not in that much of a hurry. Your next match is not going to be starting right away. Okay? So don't do it. Keep your cue done up. Just sit down. Be cool. Okay? If they miss it, they miss it. All right? But you're going to be a good sport and sit there and not jinx them. Okay? Okay, guys, let's get into sharking. You've heard the term. There is a number of different things that means. Okay? What's the definition of sharking? Here it is on your screen. In the context of pool, sharking refers to intentionally distracting an opponent to disrupt their focus and play, often through actions that are unsportsmanlike but not explicitly against the rules. It's a form of psychological warfare in the game of billiards where players attempt to gain an advantage by unsettling their opponents. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, number one, excessive talking. That is including before the match. Okay, in the match, but also before the match. All right, talking to them about their divorce and their kids and this and Uncle Auntie Betty that died and all this kind of stuff, and or even making excessive humor, excessive jokes and things like that to try to take their focus off of the game and lighten them up. That is sharking, guys. Okay? Be professional. You want to shoot professional? Start acting like it. Be professional. Shake their hand, wish them a good match. Chit chat with them after the match if you like, when you're both waiting for your next match or something like that, okay? Or after you've played and neither of you are playing and you're just sitting around in the pool hall. Sure, have all the discussions you want, okay? I've seen people do this to me. One person just did it to me in Vegas when I was playing in the VNEA World Championships there a couple months ago. All right. He was excessively talking, excessively humorous, telling jokes, laughing with his wife, all sorts of stuff. Who was sitting in the stands there and cracking jokes. And he got real serious when we went hill though. He actually got upset that I wasn't even in his line of vision, but I tend to shake my leg a little bit, bounce my foot a little bit as I'm sitting in my chair. Okay, it just helps me focus and concentrate. A little bit ADHD, I think, or something. But he came over and actually asked me not to do that. I'm respectful. I said, sure. Sorry about that. I wasn't doing it to try to throw him off. Okay, but he actually quieted down. We got hill. He stopped doing all those little sharking things. Okay, so anything excessive like that, excessive talking, laughing, humorous jokes, and talking about personal issues and stuff like that, don't do it, guys. Talk after the match if you want. You don't need to win like that. If that's what you had to do to win, you shouldn't be playing this game, guys. Okay, let's get into number two. Okay, excessive moving. All right. So, yeah, here's a little quick clip on that.
As the billiard player is ready to take his shot, his opponent stands right in his shooting line, near the pocket he is trying to pot a ball in. He even moves his hands right as the shot is taken, and the player shooting gets distracted and misses the shot.
All right, so what does that mean? Excessive moving. Yeah, it can mean flapping. You're sitting over there, your opponent's shooting that way, and you're picking your nose and putting your arm up and fiddling with your cue and all this kind of stuff just to sort of break their concentration. Okay, excessive moving, especially when they can see you in their peripheral vision. Okay, don't do it, guys. Be professional. If you don't want them to do it to you, don't do it to them. Okay, number three, bragging about how good you've been doing, or how you don't miss any shots, and how you ran out this guy and that guy and this guy and blah blah blah, and beat this guy 10-0 and 5-0, and you don't need to be doing that before the match. All right. In the same token, you don't want to try to throw them off by saying, "Oh yeah, I'm just shooting really crappy today. I suck. I can't make a shot," and blah 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 blah. Thinking that they're going to take it easy and not turn up their A game or something like that. It's all psychological games. Okay, they call it warfare in the definition, but psychological games. No place for it, guys. Don't do it. Okay, number four, calling excessive refs. All right, calling a ref on every shot that really doesn't need a ref. You know, you got this 8-ball shot here, you got 3-4 inches in between. You calling a ref every time somebody has a shot like that? That's a form of sharking, guys. Okay, especially if the player you're playing is a decent shot and you know that they're not going to like double hit that shot. Um, it's a form of sharking. You're trying to throw them off of their rhythm. You're trying to delay things out. Yeah, so don't do it, guys. Okay, number five. We've also talked a little bit about this. Not giving your opponent the proper space around the table. If you're a bar player or if you've played in bars, you know that pretty much people just stand right around the table. Like they might even stand right beside you while you're shooting. I know. But when you get into higher end playing, you will see people leave and give you space at the table. So give your opponent space to breathe and to shoot. All right. Okay. Number six, being rude, condescending, even violent, or just being an ass. Okay. Putting somebody down, stuff like that. No need to do that. If that's what you got to do for psychological warfare to try to win at this game, you should not be playing. All right. There's much more to the game than that. Okay. So, and the last one really, that is a big issue for a lot of people. A lot of the times I see this. Number seven is slow play. All right. You have a straightforward shot like that, 8 to the corner. Okay. And you take 2 minutes to do this freaking shot. Seriously. Especially if you know your opponent is a fairly fast shooter and you do that just to try to piss them off, get in their head, and throw them off their rhythm. Again, sharking, guys. Come on. If you got to do that to win, shame on you. That's too bad. All right. You shouldn't be playing the game. That's what you got to do to win. All right. So, etiquette, sportsmanship, and sharking. Don't do the sharking. Have good etiquette. You want to be professional, act professional. Okay, guys? This is a big deal for a lot of players, okay? A lot of players that come out of playing in bars and stuff like that, and they start getting a little bit better and getting into tournaments, they have no idea at the beginning about etiquette, all right? They really don't, because bar shooters, sorry if you are one, don't really have a lot of etiquette, okay? Some do, but most don't, okay? They'll talk to you while you're shooting. They'll put you down. They'll do a lot of different things to try to throw you off your game. All right. If you watch The Color of Money, you even see a little bit of that going on in those matches. All right. talking to their opponents while they're shooting. Just keeps getting worse, he said. All right, putting doubt in your opponent's mind. Okay, don't do that stuff. Be good sports. All right, and have good etiquette. Okay, it's interesting that etiquette, the term, was used for these little cards that were placed around the French palace quarters. Okay, of instructions on how to act and behave when you were in the palace area. Okay, we should almost be doing that in our pool halls and courtyards. Put up these little etiquettes, these little flashcards, so that we remember how to act and how to treat others like we want to be treated. I think there was a dude that walked the earth about 2,000 years ago that kind of said that, hey? Treat others like you would like to be treated. All right. We'll talk soon, guys.